following podcast contains mature content. The views and opinions expressed by the co-hosts are not necessarily those of the host. Listener discretion is advised. Smackin' and Raw podcast is your audio hookup. Holler if you hear me. I am the warden, Matt Ritter, and this week I am here with my lovely wife, Kate Smith. Kate, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. You are only Kate Smith for about one more week.
Yeah. Yeah. About a week. Yeah.
And
That'll be Kate Ritter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to Eric today, and he is still sick. He's been sick all week. I have postponed the podcast from Wednesday until now, and he still says he can't do it. He claimed he was dying earlier today, so there will be no Eric. Yeah, there will be no Eric this week. I would like to get you and Eric or you and Travis together on one of these, so it's not just you and me or just me and Eric or so on and so forth. I'd like our schedules to coincide, but that's not going to happen this week. Travis as well is out of town and doesn't have any of his equipment with him, so he was unable to do the podcast as well.
Sure he wasn't.
He's visiting his parents in Florida, so.
Like he don't have a laptop or nothing. Again, likely story.
I agree with you. I think he was able to get on a computer and upload last week's episode to Dropbox. I'm pretty sure he could have figured something out for this week, but
I think
both
so.
he and Eric had excuses as to why they couldn't do it. So you agreed to help me out, so I didn't have to talk to myself, and I do appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome.
This is episode 23, and let's get into it because Raw was in our home state about 20 minutes up the road from us this week.
It's a little bit more than 20 minutes, but I think
I think it's only 20 minutes up 90.
Yeah, once you get to... anyway, yeah, once you get to 90, but...
But anyway, Raw and SmackDown were here. They say they're in Chicago, but they were actually in Rosemont.
Yeah.
And the opening segment of Raw had Elias come out and interrupt John Cena, and then they ended up having a match. How do you feel about Elias Samson?
I need him to go far, far fucking away. I'm so done with that dude.
Really?
No. I don't like him at all. And I'm a little disappointed in you that you thought that I would.
I didn't think that you would. I knew you wouldn't, but he's starting to grow on me a little bit.
Of course he is.
Well, what is that supposed to mean?
You always get like a weird like soft spot for these weirdos.
I find what he does funny with the songs and the music and everything, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, so hearing his story and all that kind of makes me see these wrestlers in a little different light.
Yeah, because you're a podcast snob now.
I'm not a podcast snob.
A little bit.
I do enjoy listening to podcasts, and I learn a lot.
I know. Trust me. You tell me.
Oh. So anyway, it was announced that Dean Ambrose may be out up to 9 months. So instead, we got a tag team match where Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins faced the Bar, and they became our new Raw Tag Team Champions. What?
I really don't understand the hard-on that Vince must have for Jason Jordan. I don't like him either. I don't know. I don't like him either.
He's also a hometown boy. He's from Chicago.
That doesn't mean I have to like him.
No, it doesn't. You don't like anybody. Like no, I'm being dead serious. There is like there's one or two people that you actually like.
Yeah, and one of them just left a U.S. title in the fucking ring and just, I don't know where he is now.
We're going to get into that when we get to SmackDown. Yeah, no, you really just don't like anyone. So when you say I don't like him, like, I kind of take that with a grain of salt because on one hand, I can name probably all of the people that you actually like.
So that's my opinion. I don't like a lot of people. That's very true. It's very true. I do not like a lot of people, but I don't know what to tell you.
What are your standards or your qualifications for there to be a character that you do like?
I don't know. I just see him, I like him, and then that's it. There's not really a certain characteristic that I look for, a certain storyline that I'm into. It's just kind of like if they do good at their job or if I'm entertained and I like what they're doing, then yeah, I like you. But I didn't like Dolph Ziggler at first.
And you didn't like Seth Rollins. That's why I'm trying to figure out what those two did to get past your wall of hate.
Dolph Ziggler, I think it was a Survivor Series match where like with the Authority and stuff a couple years ago. That's when I really started liking him. But no, I started liking Seth Rollins after that whole what was it, 360 thing or whatever it was called, that about his knee injury and shit.
Uh-huh.
It was like I had the same thing and I'm like, oh, I feel your pain, bro.
So kind of like how I feel with the podcast when I listen to these people's stories and stuff, and it changes my opinion on them. Watching things on the network, since you don't like listening to podcasts as much as I do anyway.
Baby, I'm just going one day. I'm going to count the amount of times that you say fucking podcast in a day.
Okay.
Because I'm telling you right now, it's a lot. And I'm so tired of hearing, well, I was listening to this one podcast. I was listening to this podcast.
Hey, now.
And I love you to death. I love you. But Jesus Christ, you listen to a lot of fucking podcasts.
You know why? Because I'm not allowed to watch half the TV shows I want to watch unless I'm with you. So I need to do something to fill my time.
That is a whole different argument that is completely off topic from this podcast. Okay?
That is why I listen to the podcast, to fill my time, because I am banned from watching certain shows that I want to get through. So I listen to podcasts. And then instead of just sitting there and not having a conversation with you, I tell you about what I did that day. And a lot of what I did that day was listen to a podcast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, other than you not liking Jason Jordan, like I said, they are the new Raw Tag Team Champions.
It's not that. Okay, let me just preference this because he's a good wrestler. I will give him. He's a very good wrestler. I'm so sick of his character. That's more than I don't like him. Is I'm just fucking sick of him.
And I was gonna ask. I'm not sure what they're doing with him. Like, it looked like he was making a heel turn. He was whining to Kurt Angle to get these opportunities, and he wasn't winning matches. And he was still getting all of these opportunities, including this one. But now that he's tag team champions with Seth Rollins, I feel, and he beat, Sheamus and Cesaro, I feel like they're not fully going through with him making his heel turn.
Well, that's another reason why I'm just kind of annoyed with him, is because it's not like he has his own thing going on. He's just popping up randomly with all this shit. He's like, oh, I want to do this, and Kurt Angle's my dad, so I can do whatever I want, kind of thing. And it's just, I'm so over it, and I'm kind of actually pissed that they set him up with Seth Rollins, because Seth Rollins deserves better.
Well, Dean Ambrose, like I said, is out for 9 months, so this is what Seth Rollins gets.
I know.
I'm curious as to, because I know they're not going to stay together. And this isn't going to be a long tag team run for those two.
Hell no.
So I'm wondering if this was their way of transitioning between putting the tag team belts from guys like Sheamus, Cesaro, and The Shield back to an actual tag team like, I don't know, The Revival.
Which one's that again?
They're the guys that keep getting injured every time they show up on Raw.
That doesn't help me at all.
No fists, or no flips, just fists.
Do they have names other than The Revival?
Yeah, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson.
Oh, they were NXT people, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't care about them.
They're probably the best tag team on the roster right now. So
well, they're pretty much the only real tag team on the roster right now.
That is not true. Raw has some tag teams. They've got Slater and Rhino, and Slater...
he is also one of my favorites, by the way.
Well, you only liked him because he had kids.
Dude, that shit is hilarious. I'm not even going to lie. That was gold.
But anyways, Heath Slater had a match this week against Kane.
He did. And it was Ill-matched.
Well, yeah, it's part of Rhino's training program to toughen him up to get ready for this tag team division. And Kane ended up laying both those guys out.
Which I'm glad Rhino's back. I like Rhino.
Yeah, they didn't do much with either of those guys, so.
Yeah, no, and I was kind of disappointed on it because that whole I got kids thing was so funny and caught on so well. I hope that they would have done a little bit more with it. But
well, this goes back.
I know Rhino had that thing though where he was trying to be mayor or some shit. So like I know there was that conflict as well that probably
He was running for House of Representatives for Michigan.
That's what it was.
And he did not make it. He lost the election.
Yeah, and so did Kane. That's why they're both back.
Did Kane lose his election?
I'm assuming so because he's back on Raw. So, and if him and Rhino kind of showed up around the same time, so like I got to assume that voting's over for both of those, and they did not win. Because I feel like if they won, they'd have other shit that they'd have to do.
No, I agree 100%. They probably should be doing political duties and not being in the wrestling ring, traveling around the world.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess we'll see where this, how many matches and what opponents Heath Slater goes up against and where this is leading. My guess is that it's leading to the end of the Rhino Heath Slater tag team.
Okay.
I know that makes you sad, but I think that's where it's going.
It does make me sad.
And, I mean, it's going nowhere fast, and that's not the only thing going nowhere fast on Raw. What the fuck are they doing with Finn Balor?
Dude, that's another disappointing thing where it's just like Finn Balor is such a great character and such a great wrestler that they're just doing him such a disservice that it's just shameful almost, you know?
I didn't think... Like, I feel like he's got to be getting punished because I didn't think he could
either that or there's something in the works. Like, there's something that they're just building up to and they're keeping him in line of sight, you know, so he's not necessarily forgotten. But, like, sometimes I feel like if they went away for a couple of weeks and then came back with this giant storyline, it would be better. Other than giving them random-ass matches.
But, yeah, so generally a guy works his way up the ladder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Finn Balor's working backwards. He went from the Miztourage to facing Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah. Like, seriously, fucking Kurt Hawkins? Like,
he's literally the bottom rung on the ladder. Like, there's no
what
one
was
lower
his
than
losing streak? Like 143 or some shit? Like,
as of right now, it is 150.
Yeah. So, like, what was the point of that? What's the point of having Kurt Hawkins have a losing streak that fucking long? And announcing it. Like, why make it public, too? Because then that just makes him look, he's just a jobber. That's all he is.
And that is essentially what he is. And, you know, he's kind of taking his character and relating it to real life, I guess. Trying to make it, you know, yeah, I know they're doing this to me. I know this is what's going on. But Raw was on Christmas, and the point of his promo was he was looking for a Christmas miracle. And he didn't get it. Finn Balor beat him, and he took another loss.
Christmas miracle.
You know who else didn't get it?
Who didn't get it?
Enzo didn't get it under that mistletoe.
No,
he almost got
not.
it, but Alexa Bliss showed up and cock blocked him.
That little stupid elf. Yep.
How do you feel about the Nia Enzo relationship?
I'm into it. Go ahead and get some, girl. Do it. I mean, I don't understand where they're going with it, but it's kind of awkwardly funny. So
no, it is, and it's entertaining. It's just it's kind of taking him away from the cruiserweight division, and the whole point of him being there is to help build that division.
Well, maybe they're noticing that it's not working, and they're moving him back over to Raw.
I doubt that.
Who knows?
Once Vince commits to something, like Roman Reigns, no matter what the fans or anyone else thinks, Vince is just going to do it. And he's proven that time and time again.
Yeah, but maybe Vince isn't that committed into Enzo.
He might be committed to 205 Live at this point, and whatever he thinks is going to fix it.
Well, maybe Enzo's not fixing it like you wanted it to. So
I I will guarantee you Enzo stays on 205 Live. I'm willing to make a wager, a bet, whatever. I guarantee you they're not pulling Enzo off. I'm just not sure
all right.
why they are belittling.
Enzo comes back to Raw, like not on 205 Live or anything like that. You owe me dinner at Bob Chin's.
Okay. If Enzo is officially no longer a member of the 205 Live roster and is officially back on the Raw roster, no longer competing for 205 Live, I will take you to dinner at Bob Chin's.
Yeah, and I'm getting expensive ass crab legs.
What's new? Like I said, I don't understand why they're openly belittling 205 Live the way they are by having Enzo act like no one on that roster is of his caliber and walking out in the middle of matches and not paying attention to see who his number one contender is going to be. And
oh, you mean like pulling a Miz, but on 205 Live?
what do you mean pulling a Miz?
That's like total Miz shit.
No, it's not.
Walking out in the middle of matches?
No.
The Miz has never done that?
No, not walking out in the middle of matches, walking away from matches in the middle of a match. Enzo was commentating.
The Miz has never done that?
Not because he got a text message and had to leave. He's gotten pissed off and walked away. But he's never gotten a text message from Nia Jax or Maurice, his wife, and just gotten up out of the middle of commentary and walked out of the commentating in the middle of a match.
Right, because maybe that's not what the storyline was. But he still walked out in the middle of a match.
Especially if the match was for the number one contender for his title.
You know, I prefer, if they're going to walk out in the middle of matches, I prefer it to be for a reason other than he just got pissy.
I got a text is a reason to walk out?
For the storyline, yeah.
For Miz's character being pissy is a great reason because that's Miz's entire character. That's who he is.
I'm also tired of him, so. Bet you're regretting doing this podcast with me.
No, I'm trying not to get into the same argument that we get into every time when we have these discussions about you just being tired of characters and me feeling that you don't understand the point of characters, and I don't want to do that. So we will move on to the IC title match. Roman Reigns against Samoa Joe. This was Roman Reigns getting retribution against Samoa Joe for injuring Dean Ambrose, putting him on the shelf for 9 months. And Roman kind of flipped his fucking lid and got disqualified.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
I don't know if I made it that far.
Yeah, I know you fall asleep early. And now Kurt Angle tweeted out that the first Raw of 2018 will feature Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe for the Intercontinental title with the stipulation that if Roman Reigns is disqualified,
he loses his title.
He will lose the title. Nice.
I like Samoa Joe. I hope he wins. I like him.
Oh, you were just so hit and miss with this shit. Like,
I don't care.
What about Asuka? Are you ready for Asuka?
I like her. I mean, I hope that they don't do what they did in NXT where she just won everything. Like, I hope she loses some, like...
Well, that brings up an interesting question because she came out and kind of moved from squash matches, announced herself as an entrant in the Royal Rumble, and attacked Alexa Bliss, the champ. If she is eliminated and does not win the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, does that count as a loss?
I would say so. Yeah, why not?
So would she no longer be undefeated?
She didn't win, so like...
Well, yeah, but okay, so if you're in a fatal four-way...
I don't think that would do anything for her undefeated streak because those are single matches. It's not like a group match,
Well, it's not necessarily single matches, or if you're in a fatal four-way and you get pinned, for example, Aleister Black was in a fatal four-way. He had been undefeated on NXT. He got pinned in the number one contenders match. It was a fatal four-way. It wasn't a singles match, so he is no longer undefeated. if you're part of a tag team and you get pinned in that tag team match, you're no longer undefeated.
Yeah, if she got pinned, like in a tag team, yeah. But if her partner got tagged, I wouldn't call that a loss for
Oh
her.
no, if her partner got pinned,
You
no, but
know.
she is going to be physically eliminated. She is getting thrown over the top rope. She is
Right.
being taken out of the match.
To be fair, though, isn't Nia Jax in that shit?
Yes, she is.
Asuka's tiny, and Nia Jax can throw some bitches around.
Well, we've seen in the past that the biggest guy, i.e., Mark Henry, the Big Show, Great Khali,
Yeah, no, they don't
Viscera.
always win. Yeah, yeah. No, I understand that. But
Yeah,
for some reason, they do it differently for women's matches, you know?
possibly. We will. I'm very interested to see how they do it because
Me
my
too.
understanding is it is a 20-person rumble, not a 30-person rumble, which is more
Makes
than
sense.
likely due to time and the amount
Hmm.
of women on the roster.
Hmm.
But as I told Eric last week, we have, if you count Nikki Bella, who's still technically part of the SmackDown roster as of right now, between Raw and SmackDown, not counting the champions, you have 20 women on the roster.
Yeah,
So
no, so how does this work? So it's Raw and SmackDown?
yes,
Okay. All right. And then so like if a SmackDown person wins, they just go for the SmackDown title?
yes.
Okay. All right.
Same thing with the regular Royal Rumble. So it'll be Raw
Yeah.
and SmackDown, and then a few special entrants here and there.
Right.
And
It
then,
just confuses me since they did the brand split and things like I get all
no,
fucked up.
I can see that because this is your first year with the brand split, whereas I've had previous brand splits and seen how it's gone. So
Right.
I can help you with any questions you got there.
No shit.
Um, I believe that's all we had on Monday Night Raw. Can you think of anything else? Oh, we had Matt Hardy attack Bray Wyatt. I'm not really happy with that, so I kind of avoided that. I don't. Yeah, I didn't even put it in my notes.
Oh yeah.
I know how you feel
Uh,
about Woken Matt Hardy. I was not a fan of
it's
the
so dumb.
Broken Matt Hardy thing, but I was happy that there were a lot of fans out there that were all about it, and that Bray Wyatt was going to be the catalyst for it because I was like, all right, at least they're doing something with Bray.
No, yeah, no, I like that they're doing something with Bray and I like that they're doing something with Matt Hardy because I mean he's been around forever. However, Matt Hardy is not a good crazy person. Like he's not really like I don't genuinely find his acting genuine. You know, like I don't believe it. He
Well,
just it seems just like somebody was like, "Oh yeah, just act like a fucking lunatic." And he's like, "Okay, I got this, guys." And he's just standing in the middle of a room like fake laughing. It's just weird.
I
It just
think,
doesn't I
I
don't
think, no, I'm with you, and I'm not a fan of it either, and I wasn't a fan of it when it came out, but I think that was the whole point. Was he was supposed to be so over the top dramatic and so over the top eccentric because it is a character, and
Yeah, no, and I can totally see that, but I feel like he's just not doing it right. Like I feel like there is a way to do it and make it entertaining and believable in a way, but like I just don't feel it.
well, maybe if we can ever get Eric back on here, if he doesn't die from his sickness, he was a big fan of the broken Matt Hardy character, so maybe
He
he
would
can give
be.
some insight as to what made that work and whether or not it's working here. I don't think we didn't get to really see a whole lot of him. Like we've seen him in the promos backstage, but that doesn't give you a real good feel for the character, I believe. And seeing it live out on Raw and how it works.
Mhm.
So we'll just have to see how that goes. I don't even know how many matches we're going to get on the Royal Rumble this year with two separate Rumble matches going on. Like I know we're going to get the Universal title match, which is Braun versus Brock versus Kane. But other than that, like I don't know how many matches we are actually going to get because I mean, two Royal Rumble matches, you could literally do 3 or 4 hours with just two Royal Rumble matches.
Oh, I would probably say an hour each. At least an hour for the females match. Like I feel like that one's gonna be real fast.
Who do you
I don't
think's going
think
to win
that
that
one's gonna
match?
last. Fuck if I know, dude. I can't even there's just I don't know.
Who do you want to win that match?
Probably Paige, just because I'm glad she's back.
Yeah, and
You
she
know,
also just had a bunch more of the dudes that people stole off her phone leaked. It's all old shit from the original hack.
yeah.
But after she came out and she did Lillian's podcast and she talked about it and got her feelings out, they went and leaked more video and
It's
photos.
so fucked up.
It is.
Like they just held on to it until she came back.
I guess.
Like that's so rude. That sucks.
Well, unless you got anything else, we'll move on over to SmackDown. Um, I really wanted Eric to be here for this because Eric was at SmackDown. So not only did he watch SmackDown, but he stayed for 205 Live. I talked to him a little bit. He told me that they had a dark match after SmackDown that he stayed and watched. And I wanted his perception from being there. And I know you fell asleep during SmackDown, kind of like you
Oh
did now.
yeah.
So,
Like right in the middle of it. Like maybe like I passed out around like 7:30. It was depressing that night. Yeah.
yeah, well, you've not been feeling the best and you've been really tired lately. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is what
So
it is. Daniel Bryan addressed the Dolph Ziggler walking out of the company thing, and from everything I've read, we have no official answer on whether or not Dolph Ziggler actually quit and this was how they sent him out, or if this is just part of a story.
I honestly think that it's part of a storyline. Like I don't think that we would have not had confirmation by now. You know, like if he actually walked out, like I'm sure that that shit would be all over Twitter. And it was if it was actually real, like he quit and shit, you know.
Well, it depends because if this is a story they were using to release Dolph Ziggler, they always
Mhm.
have a 30-day no compete clause. So they may have him being quiet until that clause is up for story purposes. Because, I mean, he's not happy with what they were doing with his character, but that doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily mean that he's harboring any ill feelings towards the company who made him what he is today.
Right,
He
and I
just
just
didn't feel
can't.
appreciated.
Right, and I see that, but like I just don't understand why they would give him a title if they're walking him out. You know, like that makes no sense to me. And like I understand it could be some backroom conversation where he was like, you know, I want to walk out a champion, but it's like I don't know.
I don't even know so much about that. I just think it was what's the most shocking way that, we can do this, and this is the story that they necessarily came up with.
Well, it's
Now,
kind of like that chick who did that to the women's chamber. What was it? Blaze or
Alundra
what's
Blaze, but she
thank you.
left as champion, never gave them the belt back, and then showed up on Nitro, which was a completely
Yeah,
different company, and dropped the belt.
right,
So, and she dropped it
right.
in a trash can.
Which was more shocking than Dolph Ziggler just dropping it in the ring.
Yeah.
But has any superstar ever done that and that's been their walkout or
Um, I I believe Eric alluded to them doing this before, but I can't, off the top of my head, think of anything. Bret Hart wanted to leave as champion, and that's how the Montreal Screwjob came about. Alundra Blaze left as champion, and then that whole thing on Nitro.
yeah.
Um, I can't think of anybody that wanted to be let go of from the company that they're like, all right, well, just come out and drop the belt, and then that'll be that. Um, I mean, technically, Daniel Bryan won the
Yeah,
IC
but that
title and
was
then couldn't
that was
compete
because
anymore
of
and dropped it.
injury though. That wasn't necessarily because of like a parting of ways or a disagreement or something. You know, that was just because he physically couldn't do it.
Okay, well, not that I can think of. I can't remember anyone in recent memory, but
Okay.
if anyone's listening to this and they can, feel free to remind me and let us know.
Yeah.
At least for the
If you're
WWE.
listening.
I'm sure it happened in TNA or somewhere else, but WWE, I can't think of it off the top of my head. Speaking of Daniel Bryan, looks like, there's been a lot of talk. He's been cleared by multiple medical teams and multiple doctors, just not the WWE. A lot of speculation as to whether or not when his contract comes up, he too will leave, or if he's going to stay with the WWE. And really all it is will the WWE let him wrestle? And even Bree said, WWE is thinking about him in the next 10 years, not the next 2 years. So,
In the next 10 years, he's going to be so old. Like,
well, that's the point. They don't want him doing damage to his brain and then not being able to function as an old man and take care of his family.
which I understand, like, in the long run kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally understand that.
Do you think
But
they're going to let him wrestle, or do you think he's going to go
no,
somewhere
hell
else?
no. No, they're not going to let him wrestle.
You don't think that's what they're gearing up to with him and Shane, is a him and Shane match at WrestleMania?
That would be dope as hell, but I honestly don't. I think they're going to allude to it forever and then never do it.
Well, once his contract is up, and I think it's up near the beginning of next year, if WWE doesn't okay it, my understanding is he's going to go on the independents because all he wants to do is wrestle. He doesn't care who it's for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of like Dolph Ziggler quitting, is he didn't feel appreciated. So if he really did quit, he went and did what Jinder Mahal did, what Cody Rhodes is doing right now, where he's just going to leave the company and go make a name for himself as bigger out on the independents. So when they come back, he's more appreciated. I mean, Drew McIntyre did it. Cody Rhodes is doing it right now. Cody Rhodes was Ring of Honor champion. He's done big shit in Japan. Like, Cody Rhodes is probably one of the biggest superstars on the independent scene in America right now.
Yeah.
So good for him. And if Dolph did leave, I hope the best for him. I hope we hear more about him and, he goes out and does some big things. While Daniel Bryan was in the ring trying to tell us about this tournament for the United States title, which Bobby Roode cheated, rolled up Baron Corbin and beat him. And then Jinder Mahal.
It's a cheat now?
Yeah, no, he completely cheated.
By rolling up a dude? Isn't that like a legal move?
Not when you pull the tights, and he had a handful of those tights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't mention that part, so and I was asleep. So.
So Bobby Roode cheated to beat Baron Corbin because, I mean, realistically, you can't beat Baron Corbin fair and square. It's not possible. And then Jinder Mahal won his match. So those two are advancing in the tournament. I believe the other matches are Zack Ryder versus Mojo Rawley.
Okay.
And Xavier Woods versus Aiden English.
Aiden English.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let me go through these things. Hate Baron Corbin. He can just stop anytime.
Yeah, you guys are all fucking haters.
Well, if everyone hates the same person, babe.
Hey, Brian's on my side, goddammit. There are Baron Corbin fans out there, and we will unite.
Yeah, very far and few between. Anyway, so, and I'm so done with Jinder Mahal. Like, I don't like him.
I'm with you on that.
I'm so done with him. And I like Mojo Rawley. I like this whole heel turn of his. It's more interesting than him just being hyped and staying hyped. And then, I like Xavier Woods, so. And Aiden English, like, seriously, like, what the fuck?
Well, they needed someone for Xavier Woods to wrestle against, so they grabbed Aiden English because they've kind of.
Why not grab Rusev?
Well, that's the thing. So the tag teams come out bitching during this United States tournament announcement that he didn't quite get through making. And a triple threat tag was made to determine the number one contenders for the Usos titles. The winners ended up being Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. Mm-hmm. That match will happen next week. Do you think the Usos are going to lose their titles?
I kind of hope so. Now, like, I like the Usos, but I'm also tired of them. I'm tired of them winning all the time.
Okay, I can see that. I'm kind of with you too, and with Shelton finally coming back to the WWE, I'd like to see him get a little comeuppance, win something. I was really hoping they'd let him stay a singles wrestler instead of putting him back in a tag team, because I know that's really why he wanted to come back, was to get a good singles run, but
they gotta build him up, you know.
Yeah. Did you get to see Shane show up?
With the passive aggressive conversation with Daniel Bryan, or
yeah, where he was telling Daniel that, you said you don't want to see me become my dad, but look at all the great things my dad has done.
Yeah.
Like, would being my dad really be that bad with everything that he's done? And then he questioned pretty much all of the decisions Daniel Bryan made.
Yeah, and Daniel Bryan had an answer for every single one of them, and I fucking love this whole passive aggressive back and forth shit between Shane and Daniel Bryan. Like that is probably like the most bitchiest girl like fight ever, and it's so fucking entertaining.
Did you happen to see the tag team match that they had between Harper and Rowan and Breezango?
I think so, and Breezango lost really fast. Right?
I did not write the results down.
I'm just gonna go with they lost.
Well, I remember seeing Harper and Rowan standing in the ring, and they looked kind of baffled. And then I also remember Breezango in the back, and Ascension was kind of like behind them talking to them.
I don't remember that part. I know that they lost a match, but I can't remember if that was the week before or last week.
That's why it ended in a no contest.
Oh, okay.
Because the Ascension hit the scene and saved Breezango. That's
right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were getting their ass kicked, and then the Ascension showed up.
Yep, that's why. That I remember now.
Which is like, is this their way of bringing the Ascension back in? Like, I thought they were done with them.
I don't know what the deal was. Like, I thought they were going to kill them off and redo their characters, come up with something new. I don't know what the plan is, but yeah, they came back. They saved Breezango, and they're probably going to go at. It's probably going to be Harper and Rowan versus the Ascension. Hopefully, it's a strong showing for the Ascension, and it kind of brings the Ascension back to what they were in NXT before they were brought up to the main roster and ruined.
Yeah.
But this is what happens when I've got to wait, 4 days to do my podcast instead of doing it on Wednesday, doing it on a Saturday. I forget some shit that I put in my notes. So, fuck you, Eric. You're fucking shit up.
Yeah, Eric. God.
Sick
Why
for 4 days. This
suck
is ridiculous.
so much? Why do you suck so much, Eric?
The Riot Squad got back on track. Ruby beat Naomi. Charlotte tried to make the save, and she got beat down, and then the SmackDown Women's Locker Room came to the rescue, but the Riot Squad escaped. They lost last week, but Ruby got the win this week, so they're back on track.
That's what I wanted, these little female factions, like Raw and SmackDown, because I enjoy Ruby Riot and Paige when they do their little promos or whatever. I enjoy those. Those are good. I'm not like sold on their little minions, like at all.
So,
and seriously not sold on Mandy Rose. Like she was doing, I watched that match that she was in, or whatever like match they had, and she was fine. Like she did good. She's not a bad wrestler, but like it's probably because I watch Tough Enough and I know that she's just so fucking awkward that I'm like, I just don't get you as a person. I don't think
she was awkward, and she was on a season of Total Divas too.
Yeah, no, she was totally awkward on Total Divas.
How do I feel about these factions? I like the Riot Squad better than I like Absolution because I liked the way how aggressive the Riot Squad was when they came in and what they were doing. I like that Ruby Riot, Sarah Logan, and Liv Morgan are all separate, very defined characters.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that bugs me is that like Liv Tyler or whatever the fuck her name is, Liv, what is her name?
Morgan.
Liv Morgan. And Mandy Rose are like the same character, kind of, essentially. And the Kentucky chick, and then you've got the fighter chick. Like,
they play the same roles, but they're not the same characters. And that's why I said I like the Riot Squad better, because Sarah Logan is clearly, this down-home country bumpkin family style chick.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan is clearly this blonde from New Jersey who loves hip hop and that whole kind of lifestyle.
I must have missed the part where they asked her about her musical interests.
Well, I know her from NXT, so I know more about her than you would. Because again, on this podcast, I'm the only one that watches NXT or anything besides Raw or SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are also disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
But no, she's very into Jordans. She listens to a lot of rap and hip hop. That's her whole persona. A lot of the slang and everything that she uses comes from that, and I know that from watching her on NXT.
Okay.
Mandy Rose is not so much a defined character because she just showed up on Raw. I have no pretext for her from NXT, and they haven't defined her really since she's been on Raw or what role she has. And yeah, Sonya Deville is a fighter, but it's been slightly kind of generic, you know.
Yeah.
She hasn't really been defined, or she's got a couple catchy catchphrases on the mic, but that's, you know,
that's about it.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. I was listening to Corey and Byron argue about Baron Corbin during that match that he lost.
Like, I hate both of them, but I love it when they're commentating together.
Well, I was going to say, it sounded like me and Eric arguing about Baron Corbin. And of course, the guy that hates Baron Corbin in that equation is Byron. So Eric is the Byron of this podcast.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, sure.
I was going to ask Eric how he felt about Baron Corbin.
He doesn't like him. He's a bum, Matt. He's a bum.
I was wondering if maybe seeing him live and all that changed his perception. You know, sometimes when you go and you see some things in person as opposed to watching it on TV or hearing it over the radio, it changes your thoughts on it. So
probably not. He's a bum.
You're a bum. You married me, so you must be a bum.
He's a bum, Matt. He's a bum.
The person that Jinder Mahal beat was Ty Dillinger, which I'm a little bummed about because I was hoping Ty Dillinger would get a good push. And I haven't seen him in a while, so you know he got a match, but he ended up losing it. I'm really hoping they do something with Ty Dillinger. He's been around for a long time trying to make a name for himself. I feel like his Perfect 10 gimmick got over. I don't know why they're just relegating, you know, him as pretty much a jobber at this point. It's disappointing.
He's on SmackDown now? They took him off of NXT, right?
Yeah, he's been on SmackDown since the Royal Rumble when he made his debut.
Oh, yeah.
On the main roster.
Oh, yeah.
And then last but not least, AJ Styles lost to Kevin Owens because of Shane McMahon.
Why? What happened?
Well, so when Shane was talking in the back, one of the things he was complaining about was the match that Daniel Bryan made between AJ and Kevin Owens and not banning Sami Zayn from ringside.
Yeah.
So during the match, Sami Zayn gets on the apron and is yelling something at the ref. Shane McMahon comes down and he demands that the ref kicks Sami Zayn from ringside.
Okay.
Bans him from ringside. Because the ref is dealing with that, he does not see AJ Styles go for a pin, and then AJ ends up getting rolled up and pinned by Kevin Owens after AJ gets up to, you know, find out why no one's counting because the ref is distracted by Shane. So Shane cost AJ that match.
That sucks.
Yep, the one thing he was trying to prevent, he caused. And also, now next week we have AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn or just in a match. It's not for anything. I'm sorry. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
No, Sami Zayn's voice irritates me. Sounds like an old Jewish man. He's just annoying. Not that Jews are annoying. Can you edit? Can we edit that part out?
We cannot edit that out.
Just,
do not have the technology or the equipment to edit that out, so now you have insulted Jews live on this podcast.
just let everybody know I have a bubby. I love Jews. I love my bubby.
Is that like I'm not racist because I have a black president?
No.
Okay.
No, it's a little bit different.
Okay.
Bubby buys me presents, so.
And we can't even say that anymore because we put Trump back in office, so we fucked that up for ourselves.
We didn't do shit.
Well, yeah, I know we didn't personally, but America, the collective we.
Mm-hmm.
All right, who's winning on Raw?
Mm. Mm. I don't know. No one.
Really?
Well, like who? Like, what are you gonna say?
Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins, they won the tag team titles.
Yeah, but Seth Rollins has to work with Jason Jordan.
Okay, then
So.
Jason Jordan, because not only does he get to be Seth Rollins' tag team partner, but now he's Raw tag team champions. Paige won her match.
Okay, Paige is winning.
There you go. Who's losing?
Nia Jax.
I was going to go with Enzo.
Why?
Probably for the same reason you picked Nia.
Because Alexa's a cock block.
And it's the second week in a row because Drew Gulak was a cock block last week.
Once they get together, this shit's gonna be fucking epic. Although, I have to admit, I am so proud of WWE for putting the bigger chick in a love interest story rather than one of the small skinny chicks that they have. Like, I really appreciate this storyline probably more than anyone else.
Well, as long
Like,
as
it's
the
just-
WWE doesn't do what they typically do in this instance and situation and turn it into a big joke, I will agree with you.
I don't think so with all of the body positivity shit nowadays and all that garbage that they're gonna make it shitty. Because I feel like if they do that, they're gonna have a lot of backlash.
And I gotta give it to Nia. I mean, for a bigger girl, and I'm not a fan of what she's done with her hair as of late, but she is a very, very beautiful woman.
Oh yeah, she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous. She was a plus size model before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
That is correct.
She's no Ashley Graham, but
Who is?
she's a hottie. I'm not gonna lie.
Who's winning on SmackDown, babe?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with Kevin Owens just because he lucked the fuck out.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Who's losing?
Shade, because he fucked up.
I was going to go with Baron Corbin because he is now out of the running for his United States Championship that he never even got a proper rematch for.
Yeah, your poor butt buddy. That doesn't necessarily mean he won't get a rematch when the new one comes up.
Yeah,
I don't see why they wouldn't.
Rematch. The only way you can get a rematch is against the person that beat you for the title.
Well, he's not going to get that.
Exactly.
What if?
Point. So he's losing.
What if the title, like the two people are down, like they go into the actual title match or whatever, and Dolph Ziggler comes back and he fucks it up?
That could happen. We will see. I actually have a theory that with Jinder Mahal advancing in this tournament and Baron Corbin not advancing in this tournament, that they are setting the stage for Baron Corbin to win the Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania to face AJ Styles, where he will win his first WWE Championship.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Oh, let's pray that does.
Yeah, no, I don't want that to happen at all.
How about this?
Because you know what? When that does happen, I won't hear the fucking end of it. Like, that's going to be the major problem. I have to live with you after this. Like, I don't want that shit to happen.
I made that Bob Chins deal. So
I'm
how
not
about
taking you out anywhere. No, I'm not making a deal.
If this happens, we name our firstborn son Baron.
Fuck no. Fuck no.
You have no sense of adventure. You don't gamble. You don't take any chances unless it benefits you, and that's just not fair.
That's what
You gotta make a
gambling is.
wager.
Like,
No,
you gotta make sure. Yeah, the only way to win when you gamble is make sure that you benefit from it.
that is
That's how to
actually
play
the
it
exact
smart.
opposite of gambling and the definition of what a gamble is.
Not if you're stupid. Like, if you're smart, then yeah, you make sure that it goes into your benefit.
Well, first off, you're not going to Bob Chin's because what you said isn't going to happen.
Probably not.
So there's that. Secondly,
I'll
I
get there one
guarantee
day.
you Baron Corbin is not going to win the Royal Rumble and
Yeah.
go on to WrestleMania in the main event to beat AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. So
I'm not
you
even
could have
going to
just
make
humored
I'm not
me.
even going to make that bet because the moment I do, that shit happens. So like, no, I'm not making that bet. Like, I'm not even going to put that opportunity out in the world. No.
All right. Well, unless you've got anything else that you've read, saw, want to talk about, happened, anyone that you want to bitch about on any of the shows that has pissed you off on anything wrestling over this last week, like
Fucking Natty. One, what the fuck is she doing to her face? Stop putting goddamn Botox in your goddamn face. And am I the only one that actually notices how batshit fucking crazy she is on Divas? Am I the only one that notices that she lies about fucking everything all the time? She's a shitty friend. She's such a shitty friend. And I don't know if she's just doing it just to get attention for the show and make sure that she stays on Total Divas or whatever the fuck it is, but she's so fucking annoying. Hey, don't look at me like that. You asked.
I did. And I should have known that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
You good though? You got that off your chest? You don't like Natty?
She's making me so mad. You have no idea.
I
Every
haven't
time I
noticed-
watch Divas, I want to punch her in the face.
I haven't
Literally,
noticed that she's
I
done
saw
anything to her face.
I
don't know
saw
what
a
you're talking
picture
about.
the other day, and her lips look fucking awful. She needs to stop putting fucking fillers in.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I haven't noticed anything, but
You're a dude.
I'm not generally looking at Natty's face, so
Yeah, I know.
I do notice that it seems like she doesn't wear any underwear when she wrestles.
No, yeah, you mention that every time.
I want to know where the panty lines are because she does not strike me as the kind of woman to go commando.
I'm pretty sure.
You saw in that episode of Diva how hard it was for her to even get in like a nice pair of bra and panties for her husband.
Yeah, but you don't know if there isn't like a little panty set sewn into her costume.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see it, and they're pretty fucking low.
That doesn't meaning that there aren't any straps on the side. That it's all sewn in. Like women's bathing suits have like a little panty section, like for your yoo-hoo. So it's not just
what is
like
with you and referring to
shit.
a vagina as a yoo-hoo as of late? See, and perfect because every episode we get a talk about genitalia. So now you've brought up the word yoo-hoo. We get our genitalia talking.
Would you
Why
prefer Pikachu?
I would prefer vagina. I would
Nah.
prefer pussy.
I'm not. Oh, I can't do that.
You can't say pussy.
I can't refer to another woman's yoo-hoo as a pussy. It's
Why
just
not?
weird.
Can you even refer to your own yoo-hoo as a pussy?
No,
Why? That's what it is.
I have a cat. Like, I don't know. It's just like it's a pussy cat, and I don't know. It's just weird.
You know who else has a
I
cat
don't
and
like
probably
that
doesn't
word.
refer to it as a pussy, but a yoo-hoo? Natalia.
She's got several cats. Okay, let's
And
first.
they're
let's
more
make
famous
that
than yours
distinction.
is.
Fuck you. Fritz is more beautiful than Two Paws will ever fucking be.
I said famous. I didn't say beautiful. I will not
I
deny
don't give
that.
a shit.
I will not deny that Fritz is a better looking cat. I'm just saying
Yeah.
Two Paws is famous and Fritz is relatively unknown.
Two Paws is barely famous. Okay, barely.
Two Paws probably has more followers on Twitter than you do.
Oh no shit. Yeah,
So
I have maybe like 100 or something.
there's
Like, it's
there's
not
a cat that has more followers than either of us put together on Twitter right now. A cat.
Yeah, and so does Renee's dog. I think his name is Blue. He's a little blue, like English bulldog. He's super cute.
Are you following Blue on Twitter?
No, I don't follow animals on fucking anything.
Are you following me on Twitter at Matt Ritter? That's at MATTRIDDER.
Is that your little plug? Because that was kind of smooth. Kind of smooth.
I asked you a question.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. Do you frequent the Smacking It Raw Facebook page? That is smackingitraw.com or facebook.com/smackingitraw.
Frequent is a strong word.
And the fact that
But
you don't
I'm there
disappointed.
sometimes.
I'm disappointed.
I'm there sometimes, and hey, I post shit on there sometimes. And
You do.
Yeah. So I'm active-ish.
So you frequent it.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay. Well, for any of you out there that aren't, you can find us at facebook.com/smackingitraw or Smacking It Raw. That's SMACKINITRAW.
Spelled just like it sounds.
Well, smacking, not smacking.
Or whatever. Smacking it raw. Yeah.
You guys can find us there. I keep you guys as up to date as I can on all things WWE, NXT, and otherwise. Occasionally we do post some things from New Japan, Ring of Honor, anything else big that's going on that kind of happens around the wrestling world. If you guys have enjoyed this podcast or our previous ones, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe.
Let us know, because we don't know.
Yeah,
I ask all the time, and I want to know.
Zero feedback.
I want to know who's listening, who hears this shit. Or do you guys actually listen to it, or is this just us talking into each other in two different rooms in our own house?
Yeah, we are actually doing that. The last time that we did this podcast together, I disconnected some shit, and Kate and I did the podcast through the mic on the computer, and it fucked everything up. So I made her get on her laptop and Skype me from the living room so that we could do this episode.
Yep.
Plus, it's a lot easier for me to give her shit when she's not looking me directly in the eye.
Don't worry. You got to come out sometime.
Well, that's the thing. If you get up to come at me, I will see you take the headphones off and leave, and I know it's coming. It's not just like you're right there and you could reach. Like, you've got to get up and come in here so I can prepare myself.
It's also a lot of effort.
Well, that is all I have for this episode. Do you have anything else, or are you ready to say goodbye to the 10 people that might be listening to this podcast?
I'm ready. I'm ready if you are, Toots.
All right, let's end it.
All right. Good night, everybody.
We are Smacking It Raw, and we are that damn good.